Previously, we've touched on presence, and today, if we can explore the magnitude of presence and why it's just so important, or a basis or a foundation of everything, of not only how would you describe that presence itself, but also the importance of bringing that into our life.
Yeah, I think like we have spoken, and I've spoken many times to many people about the true richness and the beauty of presence when we can welcome it into our life. I think this is a teaching I will be pulsing for the rest of my life as the main principle that I've found myself has brought such a rich depth of connection back into my relationship with life itself, my relationship with myself, my relations to everything and everyone in my life. So I see this as such a tremendously valuable thing for people to explore and to welcome in with curiosity, something so readily available and so essentially simple, right? And I think everyone is so stretched nowadays, always filling every moment of one's life with things, always having to tend to these responsibilities and tend to the push and the pull of the demands of busy life in the modern time. That presence is, in my eyes, the savior, right? The one thing, the medicine, the remedy that can be universally applicable for all peoples in all places at all times. And this is not only something arising now, but has been echoed for long ages, right? All of the ancient ones, all of the ancient sages and yogis and wise ones from the past, all of the teachers and tribal leaders have always taught and impressed the importance of presence, because with presence we are here with life. We attune ourselves to our environment. We remember how to move in accordance with the natural rhythms and cycles of life. We learn how to listen to nature, listen to the drink of water that is blessing our bodies, listen to the earth beneath our feet and the sky above us, the breath moving in and out. We listen to the trees and the plants, our gardens that we have, and the beautiful trees that surround us in our communities. We know when to tend to the garden, when to leave the garden, when to harvest, when to... These things we have fallen out of rhythm with. Modern man doesn't have dirt beneath his fingernails anymore, so has lost his rhythm with nature, lost presence, and has become a creature of the mind. And we see a great sickness in humanity because of this thing, because of that step from being deeply rooted and interwoven with presence, with environment, in relation to environment and to self, to just a man or a woman of the mind, of the intellect, reasoning their way through life, problem solving their way through life. And if one is constantly problem solving their way through life, one is never really listening. And one always projects that idea that life is a problem to be solved, when it isn't. Life is a mystery to be lived, right? Just that change in attitude is presence, right? Life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. Changes everything. That perception, that perspective shift changes your attitude of engagement towards everything. Then when hardship arises in one's life, when change comes knocking at one's door, one is not so afraid of it, because it isn't a problem to be solved. This is just the mystery unfolding, and it is to be lived with great curiosity and innocence like a child. I welcome the wonder and the magic and the awe of it all, whether it brings me to my knees or uplifts me. I welcome it, because if it needs to bring me down a peg and humble me, then I must need to be humbled. And if it is here to lift me up and teach me how to fly, then it must be time in my life to do so. Yeah. But all of that is resting upon the ground. Your receptivity to that is resting on the ground of presence. Yeah. Presence, as I'm speaking, and as I'm sure those listening to this are present with these words, the way they are delivered, the way I speak, helps people have an experience. Yeah? It's not so much about remembering what is being said, but just feeling the essential nature of it. That which is being transmitted is it, right? It's not a mind-to-mind talk. This is a heart-to-heart talk. My heart speaking to your heart, speaking to your heart. It is a heart-to-heart. And when hearts can, again, come into resonance with one another, and we can stop receiving each other through the mind and thinking that there's something to get, then you will receive. Because if we're constantly searching with the mind, what is it? Well, come on, man, get it out. What is this presence thing you're talking about? What is the formula? What is the A's and the B's and the C's, the ones, the twos and the threes to get me to the goal? No. If you're really listening from your heart, you're already here. There is no formula. It's just these words will bring you here. Right? So simple. And the same when you are with breath, just take a moment to breathe. When we can just arrive with breath. Where are we? We're here. Presence. I arrive with the movement of my breath, the sound of my inhale and my exhale, like the ocean tide coming in and going out, sinks me to the rhythm of that which is out and that which is in. And that which is within me is then expressed to the outer, and that which is out is then brought back in. It helps us naturally sink back in, brings nervous system back into check. Just coherent breathing, even rhythmic breathing. Yeah? Takes one out of the mind, drops one out of this space of firing between the left and the right hemispheres of the mind, into neutrality, into the center. Through breath, we arrive in the middle, and the doorway is unlocked, and we drop in to the heart. In the heart, we are here in this living field of intelligent, intuitive, interwoven interconnectedness that has tremendous sensitivity to it. The mind doesn't have such sensitivity. The heart has great intelligence, far greater than the mind, so hard to comprehend because it is yet to be explored. Yet referring again to the ancient yogis and sages and wise ones of the past and the present have been speaking to this science of the heart, to the intelligence of the heart, to the magic and the majesty of presence for long ages. And who has listened? Very few seekers of truth have arrived there, and they have been echoing the voice, echoing the same message throughout time, and that's why it has been here. The great Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the past, the Christ, the Krishnas, the ones who have their voices echoed through time, thousands of years have their voice echoed through time. Their spirit still here with us, guiding humanity, trying to beckon humanity into the next stage of evolutionary growth. Saying, it is not hard, dear ones. You already have it and you are already it. Just be here and you will realize that you are not to become something. You are already it. You are not to find something. You already have it. You are not to get anywhere. There is no destination to reach. You are already home. You are already free. You are already whole. You are already complete. Right? But this truth is so dismissed by so many. Because the mind, you see, says otherwise. Says otherwise.
Unwise almost.
Yes. And we get caught in that voice. And we dismiss what really is. And we play into and live within a fantasy, an imaginary, delusional world that is filled with hardship and struggle. Everything is hard. Everything is a problem to be solved. The things that have happened to me, the hardship of trying to make a living in the world and trying to make something of myself and trying to become something, and the pursuit of joy, the pursuit of happiness. Maybe one day I will have it. Maybe one day I will be happy. One day I will be loved. One day I will be safe. One day I will be home. The longing, tormenting humanity, so deeply tormenting them. What I've come to see experientially, not intellectually, but experientially, is that everything we are looking for, we already have, so readily available to us, right here. So I propose a lived experiment, and that experiment is the art of presence. To experiment, don't take my words for truth. Don't take them at that face value and say, yes, this is it. Experiment. Come to see. Put it into play yourself and see what the byproduct of that is.
Mm-hmm.
Does it add more value, more depth, more connection, more wholeness to your life or not?
Mm-hmm.
I dare people to look. Yeah?
Yeah.
I prompt them. I poke them. Because I've not seen anyone come up empty-handed.
Yeah. And can I say, since you prompted me last time and you said basically asking yourself, how can I arrive more fully? And it's been a practice I've been doing in every situation, whether or not it's like a difficult patient, me buttering the toast, intimacy, whatever, of like, how can I arrive more fully in this moment? And I had a little giggle at myself the other day of something that we shared, Ryan, of truancy on my own experience. You know, if I'm not present here and arrived fully and I've fucked off somewhere else, then I'm like wagging my own experience. I'm the one at school having a dart behind the shed because I'm not actually living my experience. And then I couldn't help but giggle about all the moments I've wagged because I'm off somewhere else rather than being there. And then also that thing of meeting things in present time, to be present with it. It's almost like, and I know that this analogy is like a little bit of the problem to be solved, but that's a model I love to run, so it just works for me. Of if I meet the experience in present time and I'm fully there, it's like the boxes are already ticked. Whereas if I'm off wagging, I'm creating this emotional debt for myself, and then I get back to present time and there's a whole pile of papers that I'm like, oh shit, now I've got to make the time to actually deal with that anyway, rather than if I'm actually present and it is happening in spite of me. And completely getting out of the way of myself because I'm not having a dart behind the shed. And it's been a really great experimentation to just simply constantly ask myself, how can I arrive more fully? And then boom, even the question that everything's brighter, everything's like here. And it's been really fun, so thank you.
That's so good. That's perfect. That, how can I arrive more fully? That's the gem, right? How can I arrive more fully? We can just use that as a mantra each day, throughout the day. Yes, essentially we're going to get, at first, due to habit, yeah, run off and get lost, yeah, go wagging again. But let that mantra run through the mind as a little chiming bell, just to ring, to call back. How can I arrive more fully? Oh, I was upset. That's okay. Come back. Yeah? What I always teach with presence is neutrality, non-judgmental, non-critical thinking towards self. So if one becomes absent and is wagging one's life, and the bell rings, how can I arrive more fully? Don't criticize or judge. Also, don't project that onto another. If you see another not present with you, if your partner can't be present with you, if your partner is unavailable mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever it may be, don't judge, don't criticize. Just like a good teacher, bringing them back. Assist them. Come back here.
And in that assistance, is that simply holding that vibration yourself?
Holding it yourself. Because as you are present, people will feel that and naturally come into the field, that energetic field I'm talking about, that the heart is permeating, yeah? It will draw them into it, into that vibratory field. When you're with somebody in the field that is holding presence, naturally, you just arrive, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what's going on? A moment ago, I felt so frazzled. A moment ago, my mind was all over the place. A moment ago, I was, so occupied doing this and this. And then I entered in, I was with this person. All of a sudden, I feel so at peace. I feel so like somebody's just giving me a good shoulder massage. Yeah? Everything has become more malleable in me. I've loosened up. And I can't figure out why. Nothing has actually happened, yeah? But entering into the energetic field of somebody holding presence automatically, yeah, brings the other into resonance, like a tuning fork, to the same frequency of that, yeah? And as you were speaking before, what chimed in, I feel, might be a collective point of perhaps concern. A lot of people struggle to be present because they are carrying a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of trauma, a lot of heartache from perhaps what they have experienced in their life. And they say, well, being present is not where I want to be, because that's too scary. That hurts way too much. So I, through the use of substance or stimulation or addiction to anything, I escape. Whether it is escapism through the mind, whether it is escapism through work or through substance or through anything, keeping busy or keeping occupied or keeping people always around. Yeah. Escaping, or fantasizing, or one who just constantly projecting, imagining, running from one project to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Yeah. They are just afraid of what they might meet that might arise in the present. But as we were saying, how can I arrive more fully? Best not run from it, but just be with it. Because your heartache is a tremendously rich teacher, and it is a beautiful fertilizer that will create more fertile soil to plant the seeds of what you want to bring into being. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Moving forwards. So arriving here and having courage enough to say, you know what, I know I'm carrying a bit, yeah, and I know I haven't dealt with it. But as I arrive here more fully, I realize it's not all that scary. And as I breathe, I can breathe my way through it. And as I give myself that spaciousness to just be here, I let it pass through me, finally. Mm-hmm. The things I had run from my whole life. The things that hurt, and I said, I will deal with that later because I don't have time with this now. Again, trying to problem solve the hurt. Mm-hmm. Instead, I arrive and I let myself feel it. You are safe, you are held, you are beautiful, you are powerful, just as you are. Feel it, let it come, let it fly, let it go. Carry it no longer. Don't let it burden, because it is not only just burdening the experience and the quality of your own life, but also rippling out and afflicting great harm onto those around you. Your loved ones feel your hurt, feel your pain, feel your angst. Your environment, everything you create has then that woven into it in some way because you are energetically holding it. Yeah. So people must not be afraid and must muster up this strength and courage and realize the only way through it is to go through it. Let it pass. Let my breath guide me. Let that emotion come. Let it fly. Let it flow. Let it be expressed. Let it be released from this body. Then it doesn't need to occupy the dark sanctums of my mind and be the boogie monster in the dark. It doesn't need to be the creepy thing outside my window at night. Yeah? It doesn't have to torment me psychologically. It doesn't have to pent me up and bind me physically. It doesn't have to bind me emotionally. I must realize that I have to, in order to come home to that most liberated state that is my birthright, release these things that have burdened me for far too long. And in presence we come to see that in which we have suppressed. But good, you're seeing more of yourself. And as you let it go, you come to see just how powerful you are, just how resilient you are, just how magnificent you are, just how fucking courageous you are. Yeah? So, be there. Find comfort within that discomfort. Be the eye of the storm. Let it all pass. Let it fly. Don't be in a rush to get through it. Let it take as long as it needs, and when it is done, it is done. And here you will be standing, liberated, free, tethered to no thing, finally able to fly, somewhat like the beautiful process of the caterpillar. So limited, but enjoying his heavy little body, crawling upon the branches and eating upon the leaves, basking in the light of the sun. Slowly does he move, enjoying his slow earthly body. Then a time within comes, just as a time within each human being's life comes, a calling, a prodding, a something, a light bulb, a lights. It is time to go into my inner chrysalis and let everything that was once me become translucent. It must dissolve into this translucent goo. And what terrifying feeling that must be, just as it is terrifying to arrive sometimes fully. Holy shit, I must go through the baptismal fire. Good, let it all burn away. But what if I lose myself? So what? I'm not quite sure you know who you are anyways.
Yeah.
So lose yourself. Essentially what you are, you can never lose anyways. So don't be afraid. You won't go crazy. You're already crazy.
Yeah. And the truth can't burn.
You will become sane, not insane. Only sanity will prevail. Only harmony will prevail. Yeah? Only truth will shine through. From the darkness of the night, of the sleep, of the slumber, awakens the human being after they go through the metamorphosis of transmutation and transfiguration. It is the burning away of all that was never true, and the birthing of something brand new. And from there, a whole new journey starts. We finally spread our wings for the first time, breathe as a new being, and we must trust that the wind will carry us, and we know how to fly. We have not
never flown before. Yeah.
A totally new domain, a new dimension of experience awaits. We have only ever traversed the tree and eaten upon the leaves. We have not traveled in the air yet. But the transformed humanity, that is our next stage of evolution here. And through presence we come to that. Presence will flower that and will guide the individual step by step, mysteriously and magically, if one is listening, to become that. And as the butterfly spreads its wings and the wind blows and carries it into a new domain of experience, the dimension of richness of that experience is so uncomprehendable, unexplainable. There is in fact no words for explaining. How can the butterfly explain to the caterpillar what it is to fly? There is no point of reference. Just like I'm sure potentially some of these words to people listening might sound batshit crazy, and I am completely content and understandable of that. But it is what it is. So it is time to follow the rhythm of presence, to welcome it in, to arrive more fully, to listen more deeply, to feel more absolutely, to let it pass through, to de-burden, and to use this as what I said, a lived experiment. Experiment with it. Welcome it in a little more each day. Be creative with it. I'm not going to give the 1, 2, 3s and the ABCs. I'm not going to give the correct formula of what to do. You do it as you will. Find a creative way. You are intelligent beings. Find a creative way to welcome it into your life, however it fits your life. So simple, so easy, so available, so fun.
Yeah. All right here. Now showing. At a life near you. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Are you laughing at suffering?
I love if you're searching for something. Searching. Where to? Where to? There is no to. We're here, darling.
Books.
Right here. You see? That's it. Right in your hands. The most precious gift. Yeah. I'll tell you a story. An old story. A creator, great spirit, called forth the great beings of all the directions, all the lands of the world. The beings of the great plains, the beings of the great oceans, the beings of the great mountains, beings that dwell upon the stones, called them forth, beings from the jungles, and sat in council with them all, yeah, and said, where shall I place the gift, the diamond of all diamonds, yeah, the essential truth of life, the heart of the mystery? To whom shall I instill? Yeah, who shall be the keeper, the guardian of this great truth? And they saw with their great vast seeing how all would play out. And they said, if you give it to me, the buffalo of the great plains, to keep for long ages, humanity will come looking for it there. And they will leave no stone unturned. They will move the earth to look for the thing,
Yeah.
to try and find it. And so they looked to the great whales of the ocean and said, perhaps we keep the heart of the mystery with you. But again, through their vast seeing, they saw humanity would go to the depths of the vast blue ocean and search for that, in which they longed for so deeply, and in doing so potentially destroy the great oceans of the world. And they look to the great eagle spirit and said, perhaps we leave it with you, great eagle spirit, flying so high above, with your all-seeing perspective. Maybe there it will be safe, but there too humanity will go and look. And together, in one moment, it dropped in and became so clear. Let us hide it within the hearts of humanity themselves. There they will not look until every stone has been turned, every mountain explored, and every depth of the oceans looked to. Then finally, after they have sought, and sought and sought, they will stop. In that point of restful exhaustion, they will realize it's right here. The very thing I looked for this whole time I already had. The very thing I longed for more than anything else was the very core of my own being. That was the love I looked for. That was the beloved I longed for. That was the Savior I searched for. It was always there. What a beautiful thing that is. So, it is in our hands, now and forevermore. And when people are ready, they will see. And I'm calling that time of great seeing in, because that will be the guiding light. And we will carry that light for generations to come, that they can live in that good way and not have to set out upon such a confusing journey. And they can come and weave their magic and be held and supported as they were always meant to be. And beauty will manifest and flourish here on this earthly plane. And we will have a new quality of life, a new equality of life. And that is my prayer for all of humanity.